First viewing. Today we're going to be talking about actors and actresses that got their big break, their big startup, thanks to horror movies. Horror is such a versatile genre that's been a fantastic place to see breakout talent. A place for low-budget filmmakers to take risks in their storytelling, but also in their casting. Real quick, if you love horror movies, hit that subscribe button. Let's start with Johnny Depp for his role as Glenn in A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Yes, Johnny Depp's first role was in Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street, where he played one of Freddy Krueger's victims and Nancy's boyfriend, where he gets pulled into the bed and turned into a mist of blood in that iconic kill. Johnny Depp was 21 years old when he auditioned for the role, and Wes Craven asked his teenage daughter to pick which one of the actors she wanted to play the boyfriend in the movie, and she picked Johnny Depp from the whole lineup of other actors. So I guess in many ways, Johnny Depp owes his career to Freddy Krueger, the dream demon himself. Next up is Jamie Lee Curtis for her role as Laurie Strode in Halloween 1978. After this role, Jamie Lee Curtis became known as the Scream Queen, going on to star in many other horror movies. This was her big screen debut and became a defining moment in horror film history and a defining moment for her career. Jamie Lee Curtis auditioned multiple times for the role of Laurie Strode and was quite persistent to get the part. Curtis is also the daughter of actress Janet Leigh, who also appeared famously in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Jamie Lee Curtis owes a lot of her success to her mother's legacy in film, and she's admitted to this multiple times, but there's no denying that Jamie Lee Curtis is a horror icon and has gone on to carve her own legacy. But it all started in John Carpenter's Halloween. Next up is Brad Pitt for his role in Cutting Class in 1989, where he played a teenager who gets involved in a murder mystery. A young Brad Pitt had moved to Hollywood, dropped out of college, and really wanted to get into the world of acting. When he auditioned for this role, the director really wanted to hire him, but he had to convince the producer. So what he did was he got 4 women to essentially pitch the idea that Brad Pitt was the most gorgeous man that they had ever seen, and with that, they convinced the producer to cast Brad Pitt, and that propelled his career into Hollywood. So Brad Pitt, again, owes his career to horror. Moving on to Jennifer Aniston for her role in Leprechaun 1993. Yes, before she became a household name playing Rachel in Friends, Jennifer Aniston played a part in this B-movie called Leprechaun, which, yes, is about a no-good Irish leprechaun. This was Aniston's second role after an uncredited background appearance in Mac and Me, but Leprechaun was the role that blew her up into stardom and was able to impress her fellow cast and crew. So technically, without her appearing in Leprechaun, we could have never got her cast in that fateful role in Friends. And hey, she would have probably had a completely different career trajectory. So yes, Jennifer Aniston owes her career to evil leprechauns and the horror genre. Now we move on to Mr. Footloose himself, Kevin Bacon, who appeared as Jack in Friday the 13th. Yes, you heard it correctly. This was one of Kevin Bacon's first ever appearances in the slasher film Friday the 13th, where he plays a camp counselor who meets a grisly end as one of the first on-screen victims. In a really shocking and effective and memorable arrow through the neck scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go Google it, I don't know, or watch the movie. But yes, Kevin Bacon got his start in Friday the 13th, and he got the role because he had such great chemistry with the rest of the cast. So they immediately hired him, and yes, he went on to have an amazing career. Another actor that owes his career to the horror genre. I'm going to keep saying that after every single one of these entries. Next up is Bruce Campbell for his role as Ash Williams in The Evil Dead 1981. Yes, this was the role that launched Bruce Campbell's career as he took on this now iconic character of Ash Williams, the man that goes to the cabin in the woods and becomes the legacy filming actor that we all know and love, the guy with the giant chin that kills the Deadites with the boomstick and the chainsaw. Yes, this is where where it all starts with the Evil Dead. See, Bruce Campbell and the director Sam Raimi had been friends since childhood. The two of them used to just, mess around making little low-budget films in their spare time with little Super 8 cameras. Sam Raimi is really like the ultimate friend, bringing Bruce Campbell along with him in this ride. The two of them made films together when they were kids, and they even made the prototype film that would go on to get funding for Evil Dead. And of course, Sam Raimi, what a bloody bro, actually casts Bruce Campbell as the main character, propelling Bruce Campbell's career. Bruce Campbell owes his career to the horror genre, and he knows it. He loves the horror community. We love Bruce Campbell. Ooh, love me some Ash Williams. He was born for that role. Now we move on to Matthew McConaughey, who started his career with the role of sadistic Vilma in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation from 1994. That was a lot to say. Apparently, when Matthew McConaughey auditioned for this role, there were no actresses available to work alongside him, so a casting secretary actually had to audition with him. McConaughey went to a nearby kitchen, grabbed a spoon, and started to threaten her until she started to cry. The casting director apparently loved this decision and hired him on the spot. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I like this movie particularly. It's no secret that this film is not very beloved. This really is one of the worst installments of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, but it is the movie that launched Matthew McConaughey's career. And look, we could argue all day, maybe that was a good thing, maybe that was a terrible thing, but either way, it does have its place in horror history. Next up is Souri Weaver for her role as Ellen Ripley in Alien 1979. Souri Weaver's career skyrocketed after this film, a movie that blended science fiction and horror perfectly. Weaver actually started her career as a Broadway actress, where she left an impression on the casting directors. She went on to have a plentiful career outside of science fiction and horror, but of course, she starred in 3 more Alien movies. And finally, we have a young Kirsten Dunst for her role as Claudia in An Interview with a Vampire from 1994. This was her breakout role in this iconic horror movie where she played a child vampire opposite Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. She was the first girl to audition for the role as Claudia, and she was so impressive that she was cast on the spot. She went on to have an amazing acting career as a teenager and an adult, and she's still a working actor today. Well, there we have it, 9 actors and actresses who all got their start in the horror genre. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to keep being spooky, keep being creative, and I'll see you in the next video.